Okay, can everyone still see the screen?
Yes.
Yes. So welcome to the Spread the NYIB Love Valentine's Day reporting webinar. We're going to have some other information as well. I'm Mandy Clayton. I am the chair for the NYIB this year, and alongside me I have some amazing executive committee members that are going to be helping put on this webinar today. Thank you for joining us. Today we'll discuss a few ways to spread the NYIB love. First of all, we want to make sure that your credit union is reporting and invite other credit unions to follow suit. Going back to the cooperation amongst cooperatives, which we were founded on. Understanding the NYIB delegate role and how vital it is to the organization itself. And then, of course, we want to make sure that you know all about the 2017 annual conference in Boston from July 24th through 27th this year, and we hope that you will all be able to attend and join us. So we're going to hear a little bit more about that as we go through. Like I said, my name is Mandy Clayton, and I am the chair. I am actually right here in Texas. And we have our Northeast Regional Coordinator, Leah Sproul. We have our Southeast, Kelly Holloway. We have our South Central, Tabitha Thurman. We have our Southwest, Danielle Silva. Our Northwest, Shannon Cahoon. And our North Central, and also our Vice Chair, Jeremy Sobolski. And I hope I said everybody's names right. We also have Julie Lewis, who is our Chair Emeritus, and Heather Mahortis, who is our YP non-voting seat. Now I'm going to turn it over to Kelly Holloway that's going to talk to us a little bit about reporting. So Kelly, if you could go ahead.
Hi everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. We are going to talk a little bit about reporting and why it's so important. It really is going along with the theme, but really, no pun intended, it is the heart of NYIB. We are currently the only credit union organization that maintains this list, so it's important and very vital to our organization because we really want to spread the knowledge of NYIB and the help that it can be to credit unions all over, that if we're able to, as a unit, respond to the call of financial education in and around the classrooms, we really should be able to have a place and a database where we keep up with this information. It's very important not only that the branches and credit unions get kind of the pat on the back and recognition, but we're able to turn this information over to national levels of national and state legislatures who will lobby on behalf of financial literacy. So as we know, in some states financial literacy is required, in others it's not, but we want all states to be able to make the grade where financial literacy is concerned. So that's why it's so important that we're able to kind of show the fruits of our labor through the reporting that through the reporting tool that we offer. So it's really important to us that we're able to offer it in that way.
And Kelly, I'm just going to stop you really for just a second. I hear some wind noise, so if you need to set yourself to mute, please do so we get the best quality of recording that we can.
Thank you, Mandy. We can go to the next slide. I don't know if I'm able to control that. Okay, so who can report and what qualifies? So any credit union or credit union league employee that volunteers their time to do presentations can report on behalf of themselves as they're doing it along with their credit union, or they can report on behalf of their credit union team. And we'll leave some time for questions if we have them, or discourse around what qualifies a team versus an individual, but we're able to report that for credit unions inside the database. Anything that you do to the youth that qualify, presentations that are made to preschool age on up to age 22. So that will classify for our college or early college individuals and potentially postgraduate presentations as well. They don't have to be in the traditional classroom, so we oftentimes encourage NYIB participants to think outside the classroom, think outside the box. Maybe there's a community partner that you can volunteer with, Girl Scout, Boy Scout groups, anything that gets financial literacy into the community, especially since we all know that because of our 7 principles, we are concerned for the community. So it's very interesting to us to get those numbers, not just for the classroom presentations, but for the communities at large. Also, any presentations to educate youth on financial education can be reported. So what are some examples? You know, anytime you're going into a classroom or being in front of a group to talk about budgeting, savings, credit and debt, how to invest, anything that has a financial message can be reported. So I've had questions sometimes, you know, Kelly, if I go in and read the Bernstein Bears book all about money to a group of kindergartners, would that qualify? Absolutely, that would qualify because it has a financial message. You're kind of sowing those good financial seeds into the youth. So any of the presentations that your credit union makes, so it could be in-house presentations or perhaps you're using another avenue or another tool like BizKids or NYIB, the National Endowment for Financial Education, or EverFi, any of those tools that you're using to get financial education into the classrooms and into the communities, those are reportable. So any other ones that come to mind might be if you're explaining the differences between credit unions versus banks, or if you're doing a reality fair. You know, maybe you're doing an experiential learning model versus an in-classroom presentation. That still counts, and we still want to hear about that. Maybe you're talking about credit union careers. So the list goes on, but as long as it brings it back to the basis, which is financial education, they are qualified, reportable information that we can definitely use into the database.
And also, for those who are using Bonsai or programs such as that, we are counting when we are in front of the students and we're actually presenting, not the students actually doing the work for themselves or the teacher teaching it. We want to make sure that we're counting the times that we're in front of them, not necessarily what they're already receiving in the classroom. Or it's great that we're providing this great curriculum to them. However, we're only counting the times that we're in front of them. We're hoping to gather that information for those who are providing curriculum in the future.
Right. And if you all have any questions about anything that does not qualify or what qualifies, definitely reaching out to your regional coordinators. I'm sure we'll have some time at the end of this call as well. But we've got all of our information that you all will be able to see towards the end of the presentation. If you'd like to reach out and say, you know, I'm getting ready to go into this classroom, would this qualify? And we can surely answer that question for you. So new this past year, we decided to offer reporting tiers where recognition is concerned. So this does a couple of things. It kind of helps us to, you know, see nationwide what credit unions we have reporting, and you know, we all vary in size and demographic and location. So it's kind of cool to be able to see what different tiers we have, and you know, similar to, I kind of joke around about, you know, you think of basketball, how there are different divisions. You know, you want to be able to see from, you know, a national level where all credit unions fall so that we can use that information inside the database, but also when it comes to recognition. So during our annual report, recognition is given to the top presenters or the top credit unions and states that give presentations as far as numbers of students reached and also number of presentations that are given. We decided to share the wealth, so to speak, and open this up to our reporting tiers, because if there is a credit union with $1 billion in assets plus and a credit union with 149 million or less, they may have a larger staff, they may have more resources and you know, a whole department that is placed for financial education and outreach versus maybe 1 or 2 folks in a credit union that's going and doing outreach. So we want to make it as fair, as transparent as possible, and make sure that all credit unions have a chance to get on the board, so to speak, where financial literacy is concerned, because it's definitely an effort that we all share. So no credit union carries that weight more than another, but stylistically and demographically, that might look different from one credit union to the next. So it was important to the executive committee to make this a tiered system where we can kind of see across the board where credit unions land as far as asset size. So you may have noticed that when we did the redo to the website that you're encouraged to share with us your asset size, and this is why, so that we can kind of see and categorize the information as such to reflect the size of the credit union. So next, how do we go about reporting using an Excel sheet? We have put together the information that Mandy sent out as far as the instructions, and if you have that in front of you, this would be a good time to bring that out, and it is going to be made available after the call. But we thought it would be important to keep this information all in one place to kind of be steps or a walkthrough for you as you're getting ready to report. An Excel sheet is really best used if you're wanting to report presentations, a large amount of presentations at a time. If you're coming from a classroom or coming from a school and you just have one presentation and you want to go ahead and report it straight to the system before you forget it, or before things get busy, then by all means you're still able to use the system of reporting one. But the Excel sheet makes it so that, for instance, my credit union, we report on a monthly basis. So we'll do our whole sheet for the month, and then at the end of the month, report it to the NYIB system using the Excel sheet. So different strokes for different folks. What makes sense to you and in your credit union, perhaps talk to your team to see what might be best used, but we see the Excel sheet as a way to streamline the process, make it a little bit easier, and keep all the information in one place for you when you save that sheet. So using the Excel sheet, it's a great way, and it can definitely increase the and streamline the process for you as you're starting to report. So when you go to the NYIB website, that's www.nyib.org, you'll click and you'll download the Excel file. If you click on reporting, it's right underneath where you would report just one. You're going to click and you'll see that little yellow span where you would download the Excel file. That Excel file will be transferred to your desktop. It'll open up as soon as you download it, and then you will enable editing to this file. So on the next slide, you'll see what that file looks like. We've done a sample one here for you to see one filled out completely, but the one that you download will just have one sample field completed. So you'll go through and delete that sample field or go ahead and put your information there, and then you'll have the rest of the sheet to complete the presentations that you have. It's really important, just as a best practice with using this form, that there are no blank cells. That's one way that if you were to save and then upload it to the NYIB site, if there are any blank cells, there is a big chance that you'll have an error message. So for the Excel sheet to be able to talk on the back end with our database, all the cells have to be filled in. So we definitely don't want to utilize or have any of the blank fields. One way to make sure that you don't have any of the blank fields is to use your field handle. And realize we're not doing this live, but if you kind of hover over any field, you'll see that little plus sign, and you right-click and you're able to fill down or fill across however you need. A suggestion would be to use this fill handle in the field that you would need to use the same information. For example, the report name, even though this is just one report, you always want to make sure that you're filling in this field because, again, no blank spaces. So you could use your fill handle to complete the same name for the report for all of your fields. So in this example, these are submissions for November 2016, so the title of each of these fields are going to be submission for November 2016. And you could title that however you'd like to. You can also use your fill handle for your report type. More often than not, if you're using this Excel sheet, you may be reporting as a team, so you might want to use your fill handle to fill credit union team, or if you're reporting as an individual, you could fill down for that as well. And then another place where the fill handle is useful is state. We know you're going to be reporting all in the same state more often than not, so using your fill handle here is also useful. Other pointers in filling out the Excel sheet, you want to make sure that the integrity of the drop-down boxes are intact. What I mean by this is we have drop-down boxes in the age group column, the topic column, the resource, and the resource column. So in those, you want to make sure that you're actually using those drop-downs to put that information in, because if you're not, if you tab over or you type over or you delete those fields, again, we run the risk of getting an error because we want this Excel sheet to talk on the back end with our database. For example, if you see the first line there, the submission for 11/1/2016, the age group is 5 to 10. If you were to type over that and just say the age group was 8 years old, it would then be an error because that's not actually a selection from the drop-down box. So you want to make sure you're actually using the drop-down box selections and that the the drop-down box is still there. One way to test this before you get ready to save and complete your form and send it in is to just hover over and make sure that the drop-down handles are still on each of the titling fields.
Also on the state and the report type, it's the same thing. You can't just type in NC. You would have to select it and then you could copy it down like Kelly was referring to. And the number of students needs to be a number and not about 200 or 19 classes at 27 people in each, because it won't tally that information.
Right. Additionally, like Mandy was just saying with the numbers, also want to stay away from using ranges. So please don't put 25 to 30 students, 25-30. It actually needs to be an exact number, your best approximate of how many students you actually saw. So once you have your form all ready to go, and the good thing about that Excel sheet, when you save it to your desktop or to your documents, you're able to go in and make changes as you like throughout, however long you want to take to use that form. It just needs to be completed and no blank fields when you get ready to get to this step, which is uploading your report. So please don't feel that, at the same time that you download the sheet, that you have to fill the sheet out all at once. You can take your time in putting that information in. It just has to be complete by the time you get ready to submit. So back on the website, after you log in, after you click on report, you'll upload your report and select the Excel file to upload. We've got a few examples of titles to the submission sheet. One example could be NYIB upload report, which is the way that it downloads to you, and then you could just complete that with saying your credit union, comma, the month and year of the submission. That's just an example. You can title this however you'd like. It's definitely customizable so that it can, use your best best judgment of how you'd like to title it. And then you would upload the sheet on the reporting page by selecting the sheet and then clicking submit. And you'll see we've got boxed in yellow where you would submit. If you have an error with your sheet, this next step, you'll see that you'd see a little red bar to say error with sheet, or it wouldn't upload properly. But clicking next, a completed sheet looks like this. So you see that blue bar, and you see that it says imported 1/1 ballot records. So that number should correspond to the number of records in your Excel sheet. So in that example, in that previous example that I showed, we had about 32 submissions in that one sheet. So then this form, or this next page, should show 32/32 records. So that's another way that you can kind of use check and balances to make sure that your sheet was uploaded completely. Just as an example, one thing that our credit union does is after this is uploaded, and I know that the sheets went to where they were supposed to go, I'll go back into the sheet per my record and put that on this date, 32 records were uploaded, totaling this number of used, totaling this number of presentations. Again, that alters the sheet, so I wouldn't be able to do that step before I submit. But after you submit, your records are your records, so whatever you'd like to utilize in order to keep track of those numbers is definitely available to you, and encouraged to do it, you know, have your own system of keeping up with those numbers. So this is a great time to say also that anytime you're submitting numbers, it's always a good best practice to do this year-round. It helps us streamline the process because, as you know, we're kind of behind the scenes working the numbers. Mandy is super great with the numbers. She wears many, many hats, and she is the person that those numbers go to, and she is oftentimes taking your databases and inputting it into what we have. So anything that we can all do to help her by maybe doing submissions on a monthly basis, a weekly basis, maybe you want to do it quarterly, will definitely help to streamline the process and make it a little more simple. But however you choose to do it, if it's on a monthly basis, quarterly, or all at once toward the end of the year, each credit union is responsible for checking the accuracy of their numbers. And numbers are needing to be submitted prior to the current fiscal year cutoff, which right now, as we have it, is July 5th. Anything that's reported after that, still okay to report, but understand that they may not be included in the annual report and in the annual recognition that is given. So we definitely want you guys to be able to get on the recognition board. Kudos to everything that you're doing, and we want it to show and reflect actually what's going on. Remember that credit unions are the boots on the ground, right? So we want to make sure that all of these numbers are reflected. So getting them in a timely fashion will definitely work to alleviate any of that last-minute stress of how many presentations did we do, how many students did we reach. Keeping an open door and kind of connecting with us on checking those numbers and doing what you can on the back end to check is all going to work for the greater good to get us accurate numbers and accurate recognition to credit unions.
Oh, sorry, Kelly, you covered that slide. I apologize.
It's okay. There it is again, just so that you can see that that date is July 5th. And what I did not say just now is thank you for reporting. Again, we just said that reporting is the heart of NYIB, right? So we could not do what we do and have the expectations that we have without you guys reporting. It definitely gives a great lift off to the conference that we have. It helps us maintain content and keep the connection across the board of credit unions presenting and kind of how that goes. An email actually went out today, Julie Lewis sent to credit union leagues to let them know these are the credit unions that are reporting. This is what this looks like. So it's not just us looking at this information. Your leagues are looking at this. We're hoping that your lawmakers, your lobbyists are looking at the information as well. We all know that the GAC is coming up, so that's something else, or maybe it just passed, but we're hoping that this is all information that can be used in a vital way. So you're an important piece to that puzzle, so thank you so much for reporting. So we talked about how the heart is a piece of the puzzle, right? It's a vital piece, but then could you imagine a heart without vessels? Reporting is the heart. Our delegates are definitely the vessels that pump out the information, connecting participants to resources, and keeping NYIB's mission alive and well. So with this, I yield my time to further present, and I want to hand it over to Tabitha, who's going to talk more about the NYIB delegates.
Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. So we're going to talk a little bit about the state delegates and the conference. So as you can tell, the conference, or if you haven't heard, the conference is going to be in Boston. We are so excited to have everybody there. It'll be July 24th through the 27th. So come hungry for lobster and other wonderful seafood. We got to experience some back in October with the EC during our planning committee. So here's some more information regarding the conference on where you can register. The early bird special is over, but you can still get a discount if you register by March 31st. So by next month, you can still receive a discount for that. And also we'll be celebrating 45 years. So that's incredible with the NYIB that we have been around for 45 years. A lot of people do not realize that. So that's the website that you guys can go to for the conference. The next right here is, as Kelly said, our state delegates are really the vessels that really pump the heart into the NYIB. And without our state delegates, we wouldn't have votes and a lot of other things. Last year we had 18 state delegates. And a lot of people want to know kind of what is a voting delegate? What do you need to do? What does that entail? So voting delegates at the NYIB conferences, they do get to vote, and they allow their state to have a voice at the conference. So as I stated earlier, we only had 18, and we all know we have 50 states, so we got to hear from 18 states. Another part of being a voting delegate is that you'll have a choice in whom is serving your region, as well as the nation on the executive committee. So on the executive committee right now, we were all voted in. Your delegate will help shape the future of the NYIB and appoint leaders who will uphold NYIB's mission and purpose. So part of being a state delegate is really getting other people in your state, especially the credit unions around your area, involved in making sure they're reporting or how can we get in contact with them. So that's the real importance of being a delegate. We're hoping at the end of the call we'll have some time where we can actually hear from some of our current state delegates. And we're planning something really special for our delegates in Boston. Here are the regions, just in case you wondered where your state falls again and what region it is listed out. And then the last thing that we really want to do is encourage all of you to connect. If you have not liked our page on Facebook and on Twitter, please go there. Instagram and Snapchat we're hoping to come out soon. But Danielle, I'm going to say her name wrong, Danielle Sylvia, she is one of the ones heading the Facebook and all of that other social media along with the rest of the executive committee. But we want to know what you're doing and what your credit unions are doing. So please send us articles. If you're in the classroom personally doing something on behalf of your credit union that has to do with financial literacy or anything with the financial, let us know. We would love to highlight and focus on you and your credit union. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Mandy and Jeremy.
Hello, everyone. Jeremy, you there?
I'm here.
Well, you know, it says, when did you first fall in love with NYIB? My first conference was in 2009 in Arizona, and I have attended every conference since then. And along with getting a lot of great information and taking it into the classroom and showing the relevance of it to the credit union, I've made a lot of really good friends along the way, and a lot of networking. So when did I first fall in love? I guess in Tempe, Arizona at 120 degrees in the middle of summer. But along the way, I had the opportunity to meet my vice chair, Jeremy, and I really got to know him. I think it was my second conference that I really got to know Jeremy. And I mean, just like the rest of the executive committee, I did fall in love with Jeremy as well. So I'm going to let him speak for just a second. That was kind of cheesy. I'm sorry.
Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mandy. So my first conference, when I first fell in love with NYIB, because it was instant. For me, I was actually taken under somebody's wing to be a co-presenter for the conference in San Antonio in 2006. And I just remember walking in and just seeing this large sea of people and thinking all of these people are here for financial education, and just all the connections I managed to make over the course of 3 days. It was just, it lit me up. Yes, love at first sight for sure. And 11 years later, here I am, still going. So.
And I think going along with what you said, Jeremy, one thing for me was I got to meet people who were doing what I did. And in my area, I was the first. And so it was kind of humbling to me to be able to connect with people who understood what I was doing and what I was doing in the classroom. So we want to invite you guys, I know a lot of you are on mute, to share with us. We won't keep you for extremely long time, but to share with us what your love is for the NYIB, and we hope you share this on Facebook as well, but on the call we want to give you that opportunity as well. Anyone?
I'll go.
I'm not surprised.
Josh?
So I started 2 years ago when I met Mandy, or clung to Mandy, because I was all on my own, and she was the only one I knew who was from Texas, and the league left me. So clung to Mandy, met Tabitha and Jeremy, and it's been a joy ever since. From my first time back in 2015, and from what I've learned at NYIB, we've been able to grow our education outreach program at my credit union threefold. So it's a lot of fun, and it's fun to connect with other credit unions and share your ideas, but it is something with a ton of resources, and like anything, if you don't utilize what is available to you, nothing's ever going to happen. So that's when I first fell in love, and of course, being on the Riverwalk in San Antonio didn't hurt either.
Thank you, Josh. Anyone else?
I'll go. This is Kelly again. I know it says, when did you first fall in love, but I'm going to ignore that a little bit because my love runs so deep that I've got so many different examples. But one really cool one, you know how we utilize the listserv, which I love, and that's really cool to keep us connected. So one time, someone sent an email through the listserv. It was actually Chris Moore. I don't know if she's on the call. She's from Bayport Credit Union, and she had a question about reality fairs. And so I responded to her question, and she said, oh my gosh, this sounds so cool. When's your next one? I would love to come. And so, you know, she's in Virginia, and I'm in North Carolina. So I was like, oh my gosh, she's just going to make a special trip to come. And she was actually traveling through North Carolina, going to somewhere else, and she just said, yes, I'll be there, you know, next Friday. If you have one, I would love to come. And so she came here. I gave her a tour of our central office and introduced her to other folks. And it was just so cool because we got to really spend the afternoon together, not just talking about financial literacy, but what makes her credit union special, what makes my credit union special, and, you know, being able to find this common ground and this common bond that we share. It was just a really special afternoon, and those opportunities to grow with each other is something that I really, really, really love. So I wanted to share that. And shout out to Chris if she's on the call. I don't know if she is, but she's a really great person. So, you know, leave your heart open to field trips and finding other credit unions, you know, all along that can kind of help you reach your goals, and you can help them reach theirs as well.
Thank you, Kelly.
Anybody else? I would kind of like to build off what Kelly said and what Mandy said, and really the reason for this webinar beyond just reporting, just more importantly, getting involved or finding a way to get involved. Consider the NYIB a resource. You can be as involved as you want to be. So sharing ideas, liking and posting things on our Facebook page, signing up for the listserv, like Kelly said, to share information or bounce ideas off of other people when you're trying to start a new initiative or work on a presentation or get ideas for something that you've gotten a request from a community partner or school. It's not just you're not alone. And the other thing is get other people involved too. If you're very involved, you know somebody else who could benefit from being a part of the network, encourage them to sign up for the listserv. We also offer scholarships for for the conference. So there are definitely a lot of different ways to get involved, whether it's being a delegate, sharing on the listserv, or just posting things on Facebook to tell your story of how you or your credit union are furthering financial education. That's really what keeps the NYIB going up till now, and 45 years from now. Hopefully we're all still doing this then. So thank you guys very much for being a part of today's webinar and for being a part of our NYIB family.
Yes, thank you again. We certainly couldn't have the network and reach the number of students that we reach each and every year without each of you. We reached for the first time an exciting over 500,000 students this past year, and we know that there's tons more out there that aren't being reported. So please, please, please share the NYIB love and encourage other people in your areas to report as well. And I can't thank you enough again, and our wonderful executive committee. I want to give a huge thank you to them for taking time out of their day. They're all volunteers, just like you guys, and they are the feet on the ground when it comes to putting on the conference and putting together this webinar and doing all the extra things out of the regular rim of their day. And I think Sarah shared on here, she says, I haven't been able to attend a conference yet, but love how helpful everyone is on the listserv. I love knowing, it's very small on my screen, I'm sorry, that other people are doing work similar to what I am. She's excited to attend this year's conference as her first. So we encourage everybody else, if you have any questions in regards to the conference, reach out to either myself or anyone on the executive committee. And there are their names. I kind of, because of my OCD-ness, I wanted them to read left to right as far as, so Kelly, this looks a little different than you sent me. Read from west to east, and then my information is on there as well. But all of these people are amazing, amazing resources, and if they don't have something that they can answer directly, they will definitely put you in contact with the people that can help you. So do we have any questions from anyone?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
So I'm in Arizona. We're a small credit union that is relatively new to NYIB, I believe. But we just opened up a banking and finance program inside of a vocational high school, and I'm the instructor for it. So we do it, full time. It goes through the entire school year. I have the students for 2.5 hours a day. How would I report that?
We would report the number of students. I know it's weird because I go to my students 5 to 7 times. Unfortunately, we report the students once, but the amount of times you're in front of them multiple times. Does that make sense? So you may, unless, in your case it's a little different, so maybe we could talk offline a little bit about reporting, if that's all right.
Well, Mandy, we also record student branches, so she's not actually reporting.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so when you register for that, you'll just register that you have a student branch, because I do the same thing, and I don't actually report when I teach in class. I just report that I have a student branch, but then I do all the other things within the high school that I record.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
And that was Leah.
Yeah, that was Leah. So if you want to send me an email, you can. It's right there on the screen in front of you. You can send me an email. We can talk about it more too, because I'd like to hear what your student branch does too.
Perfect. Thank you, Leah.
Yep.
Anyone else with any questions? Well, thank you all for taking time out of your day today. And like I said, we recorded this. We're going to try to get it uploaded for you guys. Go share the NYIB love as well as the credit union love, because we're kind of lovey people. And happy Valentine's Day, everyone. And again, thank you for your continued support and everything you do for your communities and for the credit union movement altogether. Thank you.